A Democratic representative decided to leave the party and officially become a Republican over impeachment. So here he is. He went on Fox News here, and he's going to kiss the ring.
There's a new Republican congressman on Capitol Hill. New Jersey's Jeff Van Drew officially saying goodbye to the Democrats amid disagreements over impeachment policy and the direction of the party. Congressman Jeff Van Drew joins me right now in an exclusive interview. Congressman, it is a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much for joining me this morning.
It is a pleasure to be with you. And as I was saying before, I am so proud to be associated with you. You truly represent what news media should be about and just how to conduct a show like this. I'm very, very proud of you and the work that you do and the objectivity that you have. So thank you. And you were the first one to give me a shot, too.
Congressman, that means the world to me in this environment of media today. I'm grateful, and I so appreciate your comments. Let me ask you, we spoke on the phone the other day, and you said, you know, Maria, I always look for signs. There was a sign, something in you that said, I'm not comfortable here. Tell me how you came to this decision to leave the majority, the Democrats, and become a Republican congressman.
Well, the final point and the final sign, so there has been all along, you know, where the party is moving further and further to the left, where there's discussions of it being a socialist party, and I am a proud capitalist. I believe in hard work. I believe that we can give people opportunity, but that they also, when they get that opportunity, have to work hard to achieve success. You can't give them success, and many other things that I'm sure we'll talk as we go along here. But the final sign for me was, oddly enough, actually in my home county, when one of the county chairmen, and I have 8 counties, one of the county chairmen came to me and said, I have to speak with you. And I said, sure, and sat down, and he said, I just want to let you know that you have to vote for impeachment. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, you've got to vote for impeachment. If you don't, you're not going to be able to run in my county. Well, first of all, it's not his county, it's our county, and you're not going to be able to move forward. You're not going to get the line, which is a big deal in New Jersey, and you're not going to be successful. And first of all, I still could have run, and I still could have gotten the line, and I could have fought it out. I fought a lot of things in my life, and I fought hard to be where I am. But it made me think, for all the years that I've worked so hard and tried to give so much, not only to the party, but to everybody, the things that we've done, and I won't go into them, but many, many infrastructure projects and helping people and all the services that we try to give people in our offices. And it all boils down to one vote, that I may have my own individual opinion on one vote, and that's not going to be allowed. I'm going to be punished for that. And that's when I knew. I had been thinking about it for a while, and I said, and you know, I was speaking to my chief of staff about this, and I said to her, I said, you know, there's always been in my career and over time something that happens that lets you know that it is time to make a change, and this was it.
On the impeachment thing, I actually kind of agree with Van Drew that it's gross that they're like, you have to do X, Y, or Z. I don't have to do anything. I do whatever the hell I want to do. I'm representing the voters as I see fit. So don't give me that nonsense of like, you have to do X, Y, or Z. No, I was elected. Were you elected? Whoever was telling them that was not elected to the position that Van Drew was literally elected to. So how about you piss off? So I agree with him that that's kind of gross. But I will say this. Beware the total transformation from an older person. Now, if you're a young person and you're just starting to think about these things and, you know, you've changed your mind, you flipped, in many instances, guys, it's just raw opportunism. He's trying to spin it as if it's like a principled stand. But no, it's raw opportunism. And he's a politician. And politicians, as a general rule, you know, are deeply, deeply political beings. And so he's looking for an angle. And I remember we discussed this when it came to Rafe Dubin. I mean, he was a grown-ass man, and he had a political transformation where he flipped on, like, all of his beliefs in the course of, like, a year. That doesn't really happen. Again, if you're young and you're just getting into politics and you're starting to explore the world of politics and, you know, you veer into one ideology and then you find another one that's actually more appealing that adequately rebuts the old ideology that you believe, that's a totally different thing, and that happens all the time. But this dude ain't no spring chicken, dog. So for him to say, I'm going to go from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party, I mean, honestly, that's effectively him saying, because of impeachment, I've now changed my mind on social safety net programs, abortion, immigration, gay rights, regulation, and the degree to which regulation is acceptable and good, foreign policy, because the Republicans are more in favor of hard power, as it's called, with boots on the ground and invasions, and the Democrats are more in favor of soft power as a general rule, which is like drone strikes and all that stuff, which is still hawkish, but there's different degrees there, and a variety of other issues. So for him to totally flip and now I'm with these people, what does that mean? You can definitely be a Democrat and be like, I'm against impeachment. You could definitely do that. Tulsi's a Democrat, and she said, I'm voting present. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm going to vote present. Now, I disagreed with her vote, but she can do it. And she's not going to say, oh, now everything I've ever believed, I'm going to toss it out the window and just totally switch political affiliations. That's honestly hilarious. And it's like a raw opportunism type thing, in the same way that Dave Rubin is grifter extraordinaire. Oh, I found an angle. I'll be the gay guy who was the former liberal. And now I'll turn around and say, like, oh, hello, right-wingers. Well, you guys, I think, are honestly right about everything, and you're so much better than the left. And I know, because I used to be on the left. And I find that you guys are even more tolerant and accepting even of my sexuality. As Ben Shapiro literally said to his face, like, no, I wouldn't bake you a cake. and Rubin was like, okay, but what if we just had a get-together in a party and like an anniversary get-together and we were cooking on the barbecue and whatever, you come over then? And Shapiro was like, no, probably not. Beware, like, the total transformation. And that's not to say you can't change your mind on, like, you know, 3 or so issues, you know, like there's definitely the wiggle room where even if you're growing and you're older, but you're still learning and you're reading more and you're educating yourself, it's definitely a thing that happens where you might change your mind on one big issue, maybe 2 big issues. Honestly, again, 3 big issues. It could happen. You know, hey, I learned, I grew, I had personal experience, whatever it might be. So now I don't believe that anymore. That always happens. But on every single political issue, you're now flipping to be with a party that you nominally are supposed to disagree with on everything because of impeachment. That's just silly, raw opportunism is what that is. And that's crystal clear. And you saw how he was like so sycophantic at the beginning there when talking to Maria Bartiromo. Like, oh, you guys are so wonderful. You do such a good job on Fox News. You're telling me you were a Democrat 5.5 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden you think Fox News is like the beacon of all that's good and right with journalism? Perhaps a guy like Van Drew, for him, he doesn't care about the policy stuff at all, really. At all. Politics was just a vehicle for wealth and self-aggrandizement. That's very likely. Because, again, this isn't a thing. Like, imagine believing so little in the things that you were espousing that all it takes is one disagreement on one issue to be like, totally switching now. Super, super sketchy.